What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Horror Reviews. Happy October, and tonight is night 6 of 31 Days of Halloween. For night 6, my wife and I watched Poltergeist. So Poltergeist is a 1982 horror film directed by Tobe Hooper, and this is the new 4K transfer that just came out. This specifically is the Zavvi exclusive box set. So in this video, I'll talk a little bit about this box set and the new transfer, the new 4K transfer of Poltergeist, and I'll touch on the film a little bit. Starting right off with the beautiful packaging that Zavvi did for the new Poltergeist 4K release. It does come with the steelbook that Best Buy released and everyone has, which I think is a really nice steelbook. And I love the artwork on the front. I really like, you know, the classic artwork of her in front of the TV on the back, which I love that they did for the box set. But I love that the front has like the swimming pool scene, and inside you've got the little girl, and then it does have the foreign rating stickers on the discs, which the box did come with, but fortunately enough, they were just stickers. I could peel them right off. Thankfully, I love when they do that. Zavvi really gave the Poltergeist this box set treatment that seems very similar to something Second Sight would do. I love like the sleek, clean appeal that it has. It just has Poltergeist on top, and then on the side, Warner Brothers 4K on the back. It's just the staircase. It's very simple. Hopefully you guys can actually see all of this. And it's just so clean and sleek. And it just reminds me a lot of something that Second Sight would do, which I think that they do some of the best box sets. Arrow's great and everything, but Second Sight is just, they've been killing it with some of their releases. And so I had to pick this up over the steelbook, but I'm glad that I still do get the actual steelbook inside. And then I'm able to, you know, display this on my shelf rather than just with the rest of the movies. Like a steelbook, you can really see it. So really happy I picked this up. There are probably better unboxing videos in other people's channels, but just real quick, I'll just show inside. They do come with, it comes with a nice little booklet, which, you know, everybody looks through. I mean, it's a nice touch. It's really nice. I'm sure that at some point for a film, I might actually go through here. There's some set photos of her in the pool, which I think are really cool. And then a little more artwork of the neighborhood on this right here, and this is really cool, the artwork anyway. But of course, it's just, you know, these photo cards from the set and from the movie. And I mean, you know, what do you do with these? I love that they put these in here. It's a really nice touch. I do appreciate it a lot, but it's also a poster inside. I'm not going to take that out and open it up. I've seen a couple other people talk about that in these videos. I'm not complaining necessarily, because I'm so happy to have this box set. I think it's a beautiful box set. But it's like, yeah, what do we do with those? You know, does anyone do anything with those? If you do, what do you do? Let me know. And the new 4K of Poltergeist does come with a brand new scan from the original camera negative, and it does have a newly remastered, I guess, 5.1 surround. So it doesn't have an upgraded sound, but it has, I guess they went back to, I believe they went back to the original sound and remastered it from scratch. So we've got a pretty nice new 5.1. That's the only one that I watched or used, so I can't speak much for any of the other sound options that are on the disc. And I think the new 4K scan looks fantastic. It looks much more true to what the film stock should look like. Not 100% familiar with how it looked on the Blu-ray before, because I haven't seen it in a long time, even though I do own it. But I remember it looking pretty bright, sort of artificially bright, like a lot of those, a lot of Blu-rays can look, not nearly true to how the film should look. And this definitely has a much more balanced color palette. The darks are much better, and then the highlights are much better. Everything's a lot more even. The daylight shots look fantastic. Everything's definitely bumped up in clarity. Skin tones look great. Definitely a lot more detail. And I was worried about some of the effects in this film looking really bad, because I don't remember Poltergeist having the best actual CGI is the improper term, but I don't know the proper term for the effects that they are. But the effects that are in this, like the ghosts and the spirit world and different things like that they show, they still don't look phenomenal, but for the time, I think they look really good. I think they definitely actually look great on 4K. They still sell the story pretty well. They don't take you out of it. You know, I feel the same way watching them now that I did back then, where I feel like it's pretty obvious this sort of stands out as this ghost dimension kind of world in this real world scenario. So they definitely stand out, but I think they look really good. And dang, the effects on this film, other than that, when they do like, you know, the kids being pulled into the closet and the end with the house, you know, the stuff that happens to the house and the pool outside and everything looks so good. They did such a great job with the effects on this film that I really enjoyed it this time around. I don't remember appreciating it as much as I did this time, and it looks phenomenal in 4K. I think everything looks really good. The pool scene looks so great, and you know, the real skeletons look fantastic in 4K. So really improved, really improved quality, and definitely a pickup, I think, especially if you get the Zavvi box set, but even just the Steelbook, really nice. So super happy we got that. I think that the 5.1 which is what I watched, is a really great, you know, really great soundtrack to listen to. I think that it has a lot of really great bass, and it rattles a little bit when some of the poltergeist stuff is really going on and in the film, and the vocals sound great clarity, music all sounds really good. I was really impressed with it. Actually, I think that it is one of the better 5.1 tracks that we've gotten out of some of these older films. And so, you know, from my perspective, I think it was great. Of course, everyone wishes that we would get like an Atmos upgrade, but it's still, they made some good use of the surrounds that I noticed, but other than that, you know, I think it's a good track. So now I'll touch on the film just a little bit. You know, it's an older film that everyone's probably seen, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. My wife had never seen it, so this was a first watch for her. But she enjoyed it. She actually wanted to continue watching, and we had to stop for a little bit, and she wanted to go back to it, which we stop films a lot, and she doesn't always want to go back to them. She thought it was good. She thought when the ending really takes off, there were some scares in there that she was kind of surprised. It's a more family-centered horror film, so it doesn't have a whole lot of scares in the beginning. It's a more of a fun film, but towards the end, it does amp up a little bit, and there's some scares. Touching a little bit, of course, on the controversy that everyone talks about. Steven Spielberg produced this, and so a lot of people think that Steven Spielberg directed this film and not Tobe Hooper. I did see one reviewer actually mention that he personally felt that while it has Steven Spielberg's style and touch, the humor and the writing feels a little bit more of a Tobe Hooper film. And I have to say, I just don't feel like I'm familiar with Tobe Hooper enough to feel like I can say that feels like a Tobe Hooper joke, or that feels like some writing he would have, or his sort of style. I definitely think it feels more like a Spielberg film. I mean, just some of like the set design, the way it's shot, the fun, the jokes, the family dynamic, the teenagers and the kids, and of course some of the shots in the street opening up the film, very reminiscent of a Spielberg film. Of course, he produced it, so I don't think that this definitively says anywhere that he did direct it. You know, whatever people say about him being on set, I don't know, but obviously his hand was in the making of this film, and that could be why it feels like it. I don't really think it feels like a Tobe Hooper film, but overall, whether it is or isn't, it feels like Spielberg, and I think that is a good thing. I enjoy that. You know, I don't like to not give Tobe Hooper credit for it, because that's just not fair, but there's a lot of people that go on behind making a film. It's not just one person, of course, and so regardless of who did what, I think Poltergeist is a classic, and it's really a unique film. It actually has a very unique style to it that not a lot of other films have really matched. I also was talking to my wife a little bit about this, and I think this is just an interesting perspective that The Exorcist and Poltergeist kind of made those two terms very like household terms. So to explain what I mean, obviously before The Exorcist came out, people were probably familiar with what exorcisms were and what an exorcist was. But that film just made everyone very aware of what an exorcist is. And so it became like a pop culture type of term. So movies down the road could really just use that term, and people understood what it meant, you know? Like everyone understood, okay, this is an exorcist film. This is an exorcism film. Okay, that's a very like common term now. We understand what that means. The Exorcist has made that popular. And I think that, of course, this is just my perspective. I wasn't alive when this film came out, but I think that Poltergeist was the first film to really make that term although it's less used, widely known. So movies down the road could be like, oh, you have a poltergeist, not a possession. And so people would understand the difference of what that is. And those terms were separated and recognizable because of these two films. And I think that while they're both famous films, and The Exorcist arguably obviously more famous, and people talk about them, I feel like that's something I hadn't really thought about before. The fact that they really gave these terms household recognitions, that movies could use them for years and years after, and we understand what they are, and it really sort of set the groundwork for all of the films to come, not only copying the style and the formula, but the actual term. Of course, I'm sure people will tell me that there were poltergeist films that came before this, but I just feel like the same with Exorcist films, okay, but obviously those were two groundbreaking films that, especially The Exorcist, that really made those terms well known. I think the acting in Poltergeist is all around very solid. The little girl, for being a little girl actor, is great, and of course, you know, it's tragic that she passed away after that. I have not seen the sequels to this film, so I have not seen the rest of her or anything like that, but I think she's good in this film, good enough. And there are a few parts, of course, where for safety reasons you can tell they use like a dummy, which I never picked up on before. Maybe that's the 4K scan, or it just could be me watching with fresher, more, I guess, matured eyes than when I was a little bit younger. But it is pretty obvious, but I still think they did a good job, and she did a good job when she had to kind of jump in place for her part after the dummy was and act scared, and it, you know, she sells it pretty well. I think that Jobeth Williams also is really good in this, but I do feel the real standout is the dad, Craig T. Nelson, and I think he's really good in this film, especially when he has a lot of the scenes where he's talking to his boss and talking about the building of the land and the things that they're doing with the cemetery, and he's sort of torn between like holding his family together, protecting his kids, and worrying about his job, and he's making up excuses about being sick, and I think he's the real standout. He sort of has a lot of the comedic timing in there while still trying to be grounded and be the dad in this family and try to hold things together and also keep everyone sane. Funny enough, Zelda Rubinstein, or Rubenstein, however you say her name, I actually think she was really good in this. And I say that because when I was younger, I just remember hearing her voice and that being almost like a joke on itself, where I just kind of knew her voice before I couldn't really watch her for an actor. I just watched her as sort of this character, and then now revisiting, I think she's really great in the film. I like her character a lot. I love her sarcasm. She comes in and she's really like tells the family, okay, you're gonna have to like listen to what I say, even if it's insane. Like, you gotta do what I'm gonna tell you to do, or, you know, no such luck. And she's really kind of bossing them around, and she's not putting up with their crap, and I think she's really good. Dude, I don't have really a lot of negatives to say about Poltergeist. It's hard when it's a film you've seen before. It's an older film. You know, watching in 4K is sometimes really watching with new eyes. At least that's how I believe. It's giving the film almost new life sometimes, especially with depending on the releases it's had. And so, plus the fact, again, that I haven't seen it in a long time, I really enjoyed Poltergeist, and it starts off a little slow, but I really appreciate the humor. I appreciate the family dynamics. And, you know, while there are some nitpicks here and there, and I talked a little bit about the effects, but the story is classic. And it's just, I enjoyed it a lot more than I think that, you know, I thought that I did. And I feel bad not giving it the praise I should have for all these years. Yeah, I gave Poltergeist a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoy this film. And the 4K transfer, I'm so happy that we got. I think it looks great. And if you're thinking about picking it up, or if you've never seen this film for some reason or another, check it out on 4K. Now is the best time ever to check it out. But yeah, pick it up if you're thinking about it. The Zavvi box set, I have no idea if it's in stock still, or, you know, the Steelbook at Best Buy, maybe if that's in stock. I haven't checked. I'm really happy that we're getting these older films remastered, and we're getting some special editions. We've just gotten so many recently. Got Scream 2 on 4K, which is one of my favorite films of all time. We just got freaking Lost Boys, which I did not pick up, but then we got, you know, I Know What You Did Last Summer. We've just been like raining in 4Ks, and they've been really getting great treatment. Oh my gosh, the Halloween set that we just got finished, and I'm so excited to talk about. Getting spoiled with 4K, everybody, and appreciate it. If you collect physical media, appreciate it, you know? Let's stop complaining. There's stuff to complain about, but come on. Like, just be happy we're getting these releases. And then if you're a streamer, all right, whatever, that's your thing, stream it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Hope everyone's having an awesome October. See you tomorrow for day 7, and that's gonna be the new Hellraiser film, which I'm super stoked about. So come back to see my thoughts.